Hey everyone, welcome to Wildlife Inspired. I'm your host, Scott Keys, and today we're talking about Instagram accounts. The top 4 must follow youth photographers for wildlife on Instagram, and I've got a whole list of more accounts here. We'll get started right after this. So a few weeks ago, I had put out a poll on Instagram asking for who is your favorite youth photographer anywhere in the world, and I got a lot of submissions. Now, some of the names that came back to me, I already had on a list as I was thinking about this concept of recognizing some of the best young wildlife photographers in the world. In my opinion, these are Instagram accounts. Now, I did zero out 4. I got 4 must follow. So everybody's got to put these 4 onto their list. I hope you give all of the accounts a look and a follow because I think they're really, really good. And we're going to jump right in. I like to do this countdown style. I will say a couple caveats. These had to be teenagers, so 19 or younger. And I had a couple people that kind of graduated. So I did 2 episodes already, Carolina Fraser and Tobias Yoder. Both of those people have graduated out of the youth category, but check out the episodes that I have with those 2 young photographers because they're really terrific. They didn't make this list because of age, but countdown style. So I'm going to give you I got 4 must follows. I'm going to go 4, 3, 2. Then I'm going to give you a bunch of accounts to look at, and then I'm going to save my number 1 must follow account to the very, very end. So let me switch my screen layout and we will jump right in. At number 4, boy, it's hard to argue Ashley Scully because she's won Nature's Best Youth Photographer. She's won the Wildlife Photographer of the Year in the youth category. And in 2021, she won NANPA's Outstanding Young Photographer. She's an East Coast photographer in the United States and is well recognized for her work. So great job, Ashley, on making my top 4. At 3, I have Levi Fitz. There are not a lot of images in this account, but what is here is just really spectacular. An incredible eye, super use of color and composition, and a lot of variety. One thing I will note as I'm talking about Levi's account, there is sometimes a trend with youth photographers to be, I think, a little bit more creative at times and to take more chances. So I really appreciate that about some of these photographers in here, just the creativity, a little bit of an artistic approach, and it's really, really appreciated by me. I really enjoy it. Number 2, I've got Martin Culpepper out of Montana. I've done a couple Instagram contests where Martin has put in entries and they're really, really impressive. So he's done really well in some of those head-to-head bracket challenges that I host on Instagram. Really, really like that. So those are 3 out of the 4. Now, I told you I'm going to save number 1 to the very end, but let's go through some other accounts. And I broke these into categories. So I've got some really young photographers that I wanted to highlight. And these are, I think, 14 and 15-year-old photographers. Then I'm going to show you some United States-based photographers or North American-based photographers. And then I've got a category of non-US photographers. I'll move through these a little quicker just for the sake of time, but I do want to mention them all. I'm going to show you the account here, and we're going to start with Christopher Smith Nature, 14 years old. Really impressive. I've got Brooke Haycock, also 14 years old. Alex I think he's from Ohio. Alex is from Ohio, and he goes by the name Kid with a Sony. When I did that contest, I got a lot of people mentioning Kid with a Sony, that they were one of his favorite. And again, 14 years old. Luke Colwell, 15 years old, and really, really great stuff, a Canadian photographer. And then rounding out this youth category is Tashi Shore, who is 14-year-old, and Tashi is out of Washington, and wonderful, wonderful account. So make sure you check that out. Now, I'm going to switch gears and go from the youth to the United States. I shouldn't say youth. They're all young to me, but those were the very, very young 14 and 15-year-olds. And now I've got some that are a little bit older in their teenage years. So let's start with John Gidney, based out of New York and New Jersey. So an East Coast photographer and very, very, very good. Izzy Edwards goes by Northwest Wildlife on Instagram. Had a lot of people mention her. A specialist in owls, so really goes after owls. And if you enjoy owls, she's kind of synonymous with a young owl photographer. If I went out there and said, name a young owl photographer, her name would be tops of the list all the time. So make sure you follow that account. I wanted to include some non-bird accounts, and in this case, I've got Nicholas Hess, goes by Great White Rattlesnake, does some underwater photography as well as a lot of macro photography. So check that account out. Vishal Subramanian. And I had Vishal featured on a show that I did about captive life versus wildlife photography. When you go through this account, you're going to see a lot of like bobcats and some fox and wolves, stuff like that, that a lot of people photograph at game farm situations or controlled environments or use baited subjects. One of the things that's so impressive is not just his age, but Vishal does all of these images unbaited in the wild. So he really knows the environment in Northern California and has taken advantage of that. And then my last account here of the United States photographers is Preston Ballard, who's out of Florida. And I followed Preston for a long time. I really, really, really like his work. So really great stuff. Now let's go outside the United States. And we'll start in Australia. Lachlan Reed is an Australian-based photographer who I came across actually fairly recently. So I would highly recommend this account. Some wonderful images in there and really nice use of light. A name that came up quite frequently when I put out my Instagram poll, even though there's only 23 posts to this account, over 6,000 followers, Luca Lorenz, 16-year-old German photographer. Check that one out. And I hope the names get a little bit tougher as I go in. So here we go. Ani Rantanen is from Finland. Terrific account here, 18-year-old photographer. And now they're getting a little bit tougher for me. So this is Federico Pelliccia. And gosh, I hope I did the name justice. So make sure you check this account out. A fairly popular account with 16,000 followers already. And really, really nice work. I really appreciate that. And then rounding out, in this case, a European-based photographer from Hungary. This name is going to be so tough. I'm not even going to try it. I call him TKB. He goes by the Instagram handle KB Tamas. So please check this out. He was also named the Young Bird Photographer of the Year in 2019. 17-year-old from Hungary, which leaves me to the number one account. Who is my favorite youth photographer? My absolute must follow. It actually is an American based out of Florida, Caleb Hoover. 16 years old. I am going to scroll Caleb's account a little bit just so you can get a sense for the type of work that he does. A lot of different compositions, a lot of mixed light, a lot of different subjects. Heavy on birds, but definitely mixes in some other things. You'll see some details, you'll see some loose compositions, you'll see some action shots in here, all with a tremendous focus on these very pleasing images in terms of light. So I really, really enjoy Caleb's account, and I've been following this young photographer for quite a while. So make sure you check him out. So those are my 4 must-follow accounts, plus a whole bunch more that I think are well worth your time and effort. So I'll put them down in the description below, and please give them a look. I'd also like to congratulate this list of photographers. I think it's just really impressive, the work that they're doing, and I hope they continue to do it professionally or as a hobby for a long time to come. I look forward to following them on Instagram and their other social media outlets as well. I hope you like this episode. I hope you like this concept that I've been doing around recognition and trying to get some more social media accounts, because Instagram is my main social media outlet. You'll find that most of these do revolve around Instagram, but I do hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the concept. I also want to thank you for your continued support. I really do appreciate that. And I hope we can continue to find inspiration in wildlife together.